question for you. How has it been for you to get people from, hey, I could help you with this, to actually becoming a client, a paying client? Because I think, you mentioned like hearing from maybe a friend or a family member or a friend of a family member or whatever. A lot of times people think, oh, somebody's going to do that for me for free. So I'd love to hear how that's been going for you.
Well, things have changed since the pandemic. There's not a lot of knocking on doors anymore, right? When you're going out, there's no cold calling. That doesn't exist anymore. And I don't like cold calling on the phone. It's just, I just don't, and people don't like it. People don't want you interrupting their day. So when I started my business, I was already a member of a BNI group. And I don't know if you're familiar with Business Networking International. But so I actually, when I went out on my own, I transferred and became part of a BNI group for my company. And I'm telling you, that's been terrific. It's been, because I'm in marketing, I track where my leads come from, right? It's 43% of my business, 43% through BNI referrals. So I can't say enough about them. I even noticed that GoDaddy, and I was really proud to share this with my BNI director, GoDaddy had a blog post, I think a few days ago, and they actually mentioned networking, and they mentioned BNI and also area chambers. So I get out and I network a lot. Even through the pandemic, we had events here in my town where you could meet people safely distanced, of course, but just in-person networking, and then referrals, and then following up. The fortune is in the follow-up. And so, I try to be very focused on what the client or the lead needs, and listen. And if I can't help them, if it's something I can't do, I will direct them. I will either give them to someone I know can do the job, or I will try to help them find the solution if it's something that I can't personally help them do. Because I look at it like, my job is to help you in your marketing needs, not just sell you something that's mine. So I'm really trying to help people find the solution they need. And so that's how, for lack of a better way, that's how I close business. People trust me. They know that I'm trying to really help them.
When you're committed to doing things in a trustworthy way like that, and leading with contribution, that it's a delicate balance, right? When you're trying to dance the dance and build a business without having people come to you and say, can you do it for me for cheap or for free or whatever?
Yeah.
And I think what you've mentioned is powerful. And that's one of the things we strive for here in our community. It's a little bit more of a connection to where people can be aware and they can be proximate to what's going on in your life, right? And when they're aware, they can hear and they see and they know your needs or what you do. And I love that you've also offered the fact that you don't know it all. And if you don't, you go find somebody that can help, because that's powerful too. That speaks to your character. It speaks to your business, and it allows you to sell through your community, not to your community. And that builds true value, that builds true client bases, and it creates this relationship that's not like abrasive or tenuous. People don't want to sit down with you and say, okay, what do I have to buy from you today because I'm obligated to? They want to sit down and say, Ainsley, what's going on in your life? How's it going? What do you got going on in the business? Are things doing well for you? And what are you seeing out there? And you share, I just launched this new social beta platform that we're working on. It's really exciting for me. And then they ask more about it. And the cool part about that is as you talk about it, they become aware, and the community hears your needs and what you're building. They hear others and they connect, right? And so I love that. Rachel, that was a great question. I think so many small business owners and entrepreneurs really don't know how to bridge that gap, how to mention the fact that I need to get paid for my services. I'm very good at what I do, but I deserve to get paid for it. So I appreciate you for asking that.
Yeah, I actually can't remember if I shared this with a group previously, but I did do consulting for a while, and I got a lot of people who wanted to talk to me, but when it came to actually like getting into a contract, then people would sometimes disappear. And that was discouraging, because it was like, and then I also learned that to only give a certain amount of time for free. And then, it's like, if you want to continue to talk to me, happy to do that, but we need to get into some kind of payment for my time and services. And I think that those are just things you learn over time with your own business. And, again, you want to be generous and you want to help people, but, you need to make money for a living. So
my cousin had a really good response to what you're saying. Because she's in business for herself and has been for a long time. And I called her the first year I was on my own, and I said, I have people that are wanting to kind of drain me for information and free consulting, but not actually pay me for it. And she said, well, when you've reached your whatever your point is, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour of talking to them about their thing, then you say, this sounds like a great, we have a great solution, in my so-and-so package. Let's talk about that because it would be perfect for what you're telling me you need. And, we can sit down and talk about numbers. And when you start talking to them in that phrase, that way, with those phrases like, oh, I have this package, let's talk numbers. It sounds like then they know, oh, she's getting ready to charge me. so then they know that you are, oh, she is a businesswoman, so I've only had to do that maybe a couple of times where people they kept asking me and not really wanting to sit down and talk about a package. So she gave me great advice, which is exactly what you said, start talking about the numbers.
I love it. I want to get to our next section of our discussion, but we've got some community members that are really just aligning with what you're talking about today, Ainsley, especially right now in your journey and transitioning to making sure that people respect what you bring to the table and you're getting paid what you deserve. So I want to open this up. Patty had her hand up first, and then Patrick, and then we can talk a little bit more about BizTote.
Awesome. So I really love what you said, and I thought that was really a great question, Rachel, as well. I know I was and when you come from networking, a lot of times, that whole pick your brain thing is a kind of a big thing. And I have to tell you, I was really bad at it. My husband would be like, Patty, that was like $10,000 worth of information you just gave them. Sometimes you just can't help yourself. They just ask the right question. All of a sudden, like you're on the phone and now you've told them their whole marketing plan, and because you got all excited for them and stuff. And I've done that. And I literally had to put it in a perspective for myself. And how I did that is when people ask me that question in whatever verbiage they choose to use, I have a thing that for me is called brain tithing. Brain tithing, that's what it is. And for me, that I just tell them, I'm like, listen, for 5, depends on who it is, could be 10 minutes, I'll brain tithe. You can ask me whatever you want. But after that, we have to go on the clock, and you can't pick my brain, but you can rent it. And that's what this looks like. And they're like, well, what does that look like? And sometimes they're just okay with the 5 or 10 minutes. And like you, Rachel, at first it was kind of disheartening, right? Really? It's like, what? They don't see the value. But then I had to actually put it into perspective and say, yeah, but now I'm not on the phone for an hour. So I didn't get paid, but I saved money by, I made money by not spending the time with them. And so I got super clear. And once I was clear, so I knew which hat I was wearing, it became really clear. When am I brain tithing, and when are you renting my brain?
Yeah, I like the comment. It's very timely for what you do when you're in a service business, and that saying, familiarity breeds contempt. And the more familiar someone becomes with you, the less they think they should pay for what you do for a living. And you can't claim it as intellectual property. I have folks I deal with all the time that the more they know me, the less they feel like they should pay, or if I give them a price, it's insulting. And yet that's how, it's how I make a living. So what I've been trying to do is get in the habit of, they want to know what they get, what are the deliverables, but that's what makes you different. I've been saying, okay, I'm going to tell you the outcome of the Super Bowl. You're going to win. Here, the score is up to you. I'm not going to give you the game plan. Here are the things we're going to do to win that game. And that's up to you. And you have to then be willing to walk away with the great ideas. And they're going to be like, well, I don't know what you can do. Or shouldn't I just talk to a friend? Wouldn't I get that same advice? And I tell people all the time, your friends are going to lick your wounds with you. I don't care about your wounds. I'm going to tell you how to avoid getting wounded again. So and that's what you can bring to it. And it's a hard thing because people think consulting is free. But if I go to a chiropractor, they may examine me, but I still have to pay the copay. And so their consultation costs me, and their procedures cost me more. And if people can quantify what it costs them to stay where they are, or better yet, what do they grow by from your implementation, then it pays for itself probably in the first 10 minutes of your work. It's hard. It's a hard line, though. I applaud you for bringing it up.